The Battle of Shiloh, also known as the Battle of Pittsburgh, occurred between April the 6th and April the 7th of 1862. Between Union forces led by General Ulysses S. Grant, as well as Don Carlos Buell, and the Confederate forces commanded by General Albert Sidney Johnston and P.G.T. Beauregard. The Union force planned to move on towards Corinth, Mississippi, which held some of the major railroad supply lines for the Confederacy. It is estimated that nearly 24,000 men of both armies were either declared wounded, missing, or were killed in action, General Johnston being one of them, after he succumbed to his injury of being shot in the leg. Most of the fighting took place around the Shiloh Church, which the battle was named after. After all of this bloodshed, is it possible that some of this energy is still here, either in the form of imprints left behind from the tragic events that occurred here, or possibly in a more intelligent manifestation by the spirits of the men that lost their lives here? I guess we're here to find out. And if you stick around until the end of this video, we will have a complete surprise for you. I think you'll enjoy it.
Been a while.
Alright everyone, we're right here at Shiloh. We're going to take the little driving tour. This is the first little thing that you see as you enter the entrance right over there. This was the 3rd Division, Army of the Tennessee. Right here.
I want to check out that.
U.S. Buckland's 4th Brigade. 10th Ohio, 48th Ohio, and the 72nd Ohio, Sherman's Division, Army of the Tennessee.
We gotta check out that.
U.S. Headquarters, 2nd, 20th Brigade, 24th Division, Army of the Tennessee. Brigade General John MacArthur. Then you would have had the 17th Illinois, 49th Illinois, Wraith's 3rd Brigade, McClernand's 1st Division, Army of the Tennessee. We found this other little area right here, the Ohio Battalions, 6th Cavalry, 55th, 56th Infantry, and some different little monuments there.
That's a good climbing tree. Right over here.
Yeah.
That's a 2-bike. That's a 2-bike. Not 1 bike.
Commanded by Colonel W.M. H.H. Taylor, 1st and 2nd Battalions, Hurlbut's 4th Division, 3rd Battalion,
Are these just stones?
Wallace's 3rd Division, Army of the Tennessee.
These are just stones to show you. I'm not.
We got some cannons over there. I've actually heard and been to some demonstrations of them, and these things are loud.
Step.
Alright, this would be tour stop number 1. Look at this giant monument right here. What's up, Cynthia?
Hey, she's drawing.
Uh-huh.
Excuse me, ma'am. Can you get out of my way?
Huh?
That's a big woman.
Yeah. I think it's made out of bronze, I think. It tells the different regiments that were engaged right here. Here we are at tour stop number 2. Pretty cool monument going on here. Cool bronze statues there. That's really cool. Let's read this. The Confederate Memorial. This memorial honors the South's lost cause on Shiloh battlefield. Here on April 6, 1862, Confederate troops victoriously encircled and captured more than 2,250 Union troops. The United Daughters of the Confederacy erected the memorial in 1917 to commemorate the great victory seemingly achieved, but ultimately denied the Confederacy at Shiloh. Here we go. This talks about the figures. A cavalryman spreads his hand in frustration, unable to penetrate Shiloh's forest. The rear figure represents the Confederate officer corps, his head bowed because of his failure to bring victory. The central figures depict sculptor Frederick Hibbard's defeated victory. The Confederacy center surrenders the laurel wreath of victory to Death on her right and the Knight on her left. Death took the Confederate commander-in-chief while Knight brought Union reinforcements. An infantryman has snatched up the Confederate flag in defiance of the United States Army. By his side, an artilleryman calmly gazes through the smoke of battle. It says, these 11 soldiers right here represent the 11 Confederate states in the spirit of the first day's battle. Exuberant, hopeful, courageous, and fearless, the young Confederates advance into battle. And right here you got General Albert Sidney Johnston, the Confederate commander at Shiloh, remains the highest ranking American officer to die in combat. Right here, these soldiers, their ranks diminished by the first day's deadly fight, represent the second day's battle. Their faces express the sorrow of men who fought so hard for victory and so unexpectedly lost.
Look at, you can read something on the back of that, Daddy.
On the back of that monument?
Yeah, come here. Up.
Let's go look at it.
Watch your step.
Erected by the United Daughters of the Confederacy to honor the memory of the men who served the Confederate States of America. The states of the South sent to the Battle of Shiloh 79 organizations of infantry, 10 organizations of cavalry, and 23 batteries of artillery. How bravely and how well they fought, let the tablets of history on this field tell, as a greeting to the living remnant of that host of gray, and in honor of its dead, whether sleeping in distant places or graveless here in traceless dust. This monument has been lifted up by the hands of a loving and grateful people. Let us covenant each with the other and each with those whose sacrifices hollow this field, to stand for patriotism, principle, and conviction, as did they even unto death. Alright, we got the tour stop number 3. Got an Indiana monument right over there. Let's see. We got more monuments back there and back there. Let's go take a look at these main ones right over here. This is used to be Duncan's Farm is what it was called.
Duncan's
Okay,
Farm?
battle reaches Duncan's Farm. Some of the most severe fighting during the Battle of Shiloh occurred on Joseph Duncan's farm in front of you. By mid-morning on the first day, General Albert Sidney Johnston's attack on the Union Army had advanced the battle lines more than a mile northward from where fighting began at Fraley Field.
What?
Under the initial Confederate onslaught, Generals William T. Sherman and Benjamin Prentiss requested assistance from Union divisions camped further north, while General John A. McClernand moved to support Sherman. General William H. L. Wallace and Stephen A. Hurlbut encountered Prentiss's scattered remnants retreating north from their abandoned camps. Hurlbut deployed his troops 1/2 mile southeast of here on Sarah Bell's farm, while Wallace occupied Duncan's farm. His line fronted this field and extended southward through the thicket beyond. The new Union center had 6,200 men massed along this half-mile sector with 3,000 more in reserve. Confederate brigades advancing north from Prentice's captured camps attacked this hastily formed front after 10 a.m. It kind of gives you a little time frame of what's been going on here. This is about the time of when this happened, 9 to 11 a.m. April 6th. This gives you an idea of what was going on here. We are here. The Union line was all down through here, all down through there. And artillery all back here. More infantry stationed back here. Over here you had Hurlbut, 5,100 men in the old cotton field at Sarah Bell's place. And then let's see here, Barnesfield, you had Confederates all over here, all along here. You had more Confederates along here. Back there, 12,000 men it says. Bragg, 12,000. You had men all along through here, stretching down that way, all out there. You had lines back there, and back there.
Whoa. These are
all along Duncan Field here. This is Duncan Field. Joseph Duncan's house would have been somewhere right over there.
There's bees everywhere.
Then you had Barnesfield right back there. Review Field,
And there's bees
which was
fighting
possibly over there. This gives you an idea of everything that went on. Early on the second day of battle, Confederates' gains the first day were reversed and fighting again consumed Joseph Duncan's farm, while General Ulysses S. Grant's Union Army attacked the Confederate left. General Don Carlos Buell's Union Army attacked the Confederate right and center here. General Pierre G.T. Beauregard, who assumed command upon the death of General Albert Sidney Johnston the previous afternoon, hastily organized his Confederate forces to resist the Union counterattack. Bitter fighting raged here for 3 hours until Beauregard's left collapsed. Forced back to Shiloh Church. In their wake, Buell's troops here attacked west along the Corinth Road. This was an actual quote right here from Private Conrad W. Chapman, Colonel D. 3rd Kentucky Infantry. It was load and shoot all the time. Fellows fell on all sides of me. I remember the colonel with his wounded arm pointing to the front and feeling that I was about to fire my last when suddenly I felt if a hot cannonball had struck me on the head, and I remember nothing more, as I must have fainted that very moment. Here's a little depiction of what went on here. This was on the second day. Fighting resumed on the second day, and then this period right here happened along 8 to 11 a.m. This gives you another idea of the troops that were stationed here. Tour stop 3. Alright, so we have arrived at tour stop number 4, right over there, with the Confederate line of artillery. Right over here, there was tons of artillery stationed here. This was Ruggles Battery, 53 guns in position. It says there was 53 guns right here, man. Thunder in the thicket, cannons unleashed. After 6 hours of bloody fighting, a strong Union force still held the dense oak thicket, choking the center of the battlefield. Confederate leaders realized infantry alone would not break this force. Needing more might, they began to shift artillery batteries to engage the Union strong point. As battery commanders brought forward guns from various parts of the battlefield, they soon amassed the largest concentration of field guns yet witnessed on a North American battlefield. More than more than 50 cannons deployed along a half-mile frontage extended from this point south front right there. For more than an hour, the Confederate guns pounded the thicket. This great storm of firepower kept the Union defenders pinned down while Confederate infantry moved to encircle the thicket, eventually forcing surrender. And this is what played out here. You got the cannons going on here. You got infantry down here. You got the Unions right here. Right over there. You also had some Union that came in from this direction. This is the amount of men that went on here. You had a line that pretty much surrounded all of them. You had more reinforcements coming in from Barnesfield and the Davis Field. And more artillery back here. It says number 1, Confederates deploy more than 50 cannons along a half-mile frontage. Union troops attempt to escape the Confederate encirclement. Right here is a quote from Captain Francis A. Shoup, Chief of Artillery of the Hardee's Corps. The enemy's right gave way, but the center and the left held. I set to work to gather fragments of batteries scattered about in all directions and held them under cover of a skirt of woods on the further side of a field until all were ready. The order was that when the piece on the left advanced and fired, all their come into action. The fire opened beautifully. Here's a depiction here and kind of an example of how many men it took to fire simply one cannon. Let's go check out these cannons. Let's look down the barrel, shall we? Walk down towards that corner. We're doing spirit box for a minute to see if we hear anything. I heard something come through. Dang, look how far down they go. It said they had 53 cannons.
So this doesn't make a sound? Okay.
Are there any fallen soldiers here? If you speak, we can hear you. Did you die here in this area? Did you?
There he is. I knew I'd find him.
What'd he say?
It was a deep voice. I couldn't hear what he said.
Did you see some of your friends die here?
You heard him, right?
Yeah. What all did you witness here at this battle?
It's plenty.
Plenty?
Yeah.
What was the worst thing that you witnessed? Let's walk down here a little further. Come on. Keep that as still as you can. Try not to shake it around, Cynthia.
Somebody else trying to come through.
Can you tell us what your name is? Sorry about that. My microphone was shaking around a little bit. Sorry about that, folks. I had to tighten it up there. Is there anybody here? Let's come over here to this canyon, and this will be far enough, and we gotta head back. We still got a lot more to see in a little time. Let's see what this sign says. Are any members of Stanford's Mississippi Battery here? Or Stewart's 2nd Brigade? Clark's 1st Division? Polk's Corps? Army of the Mississippi? Are any of you here? Can you tell me what this is? Tell me what this is right here.
It came in.
No, it didn't.
I swear it did.
What'd you say this was? What was this used for?
I can't understand that one.
Can you tell me how to load this gun? How many men did it take to load this weapon? How many men did it take to load it? Alright, let's start heading back.
Okay, at .3. Staying at .3. Now I gotta back down.
If anybody wants to talk, you just come through whenever you feel the need to. Whoa, I heard that, dude. I heard a scream too. Did you hear that?
Yeah, that's why I stopped. I was looking to see, make sure she was behind me. And
That was either a scream or a bird.
it sounded like a little kid scream.
It could have been a bird, but I'll have to go back through it and find out for sure. I heard something.
It sounded like a little kid scream.
What was that noise all about? Tell us what that was. You got a 1.5?
Yeah. Now, earlier when I stopped and I started walking towards the wood, I had a 1.9.
Here we go. We found the Shiloh Cemetery.
You want me to turn this on?
I'm gonna read this plaque over here. Dude, there's stuff all out there in the cemetery. Army of the Mississippi, Bankhead's Tennessee Battery, 11th Louisiana Infantry, Russell's 1st Brigade, Clark's 1st Division, and Polk's Corps. This battery and part of the regiment were in reserve here April 7th, 1862, and were engaged in the final action of the day.
Start recording it. Tell me where to step.
Where are you going? What'd you find? There's a lot of war veterans here. I apologize if I'm walking on your grave. I'm sorry. Born 1846, died 1926. That was a soldier.
That's a real church going on.
1845.
That was his wife. That's cool, dude.
That is a real church going on over there.
So this is an old cemetery. It dates back pretty far.
And that's a real church
Well,
going
you're having
on
a wedding.
right now.
Yeah, they got they got a wedding going on over there. Shiloh Cemetery. Hey, let's see when it was established. It's got the date right here on it. Hey, Dad, we found a soldier grave over there.
And you just walk in somebody's grave.
Dude, read that. That looks old.
That's got 3.7.
A 3.7.
Yeah, right here.
Established in 1851, Shiloh Cemetery. I just want to check this little cross grave out, see what this says. Oh, it's got their picture on it, dude. This dates back to 1904.
And it got
That's
money
cool.
on it.
I can't read that one.
What?
I can't read it. That one's born 19.
There's a lot of old ones here, man. I bet this was here during the war. Let's keep going, guys. We got a lot more to see. We're gonna go in there. Michael's got the bell meter. He's gonna take some readings in there.
It's got 1.1, so you turn the thing on.
The log church standing here, April 6, 1862, had 2 doors, one in west and one in south side.
2.2.
You had a 2.2 just right there.
It's staying up high, too.
Go in here and see what happens. I'm here for Sunday service. Is the pastor here today? Watch your head, dude. Well, you probably good, but I hit my head on that.
I was about to say, you know who you're talking to?
This is cool.
Imagine these fish just not being that very comfortable.
I imagine. This little
Sputters on butts and all types.
fire pit right here. This little chimney. This is cool, man.
Yeah, it is. Hello, Miss Reed.
This is tour stop number 5, the Shiloh Church. Check this out. Check this out. It was built in 1851 and was named, ironically, from the biblical term for Shiloh, place of peace.
Yeah, that's
This
about right.
small log church gave name to the famous Battle of Shiloh and became the site of some of the fiercest fighting yet seen in the Civil War. On Sunday morning, April 6, 1862, the quiet woods and fields around the small Methodist church erupted into a horrible battle. Shortly after dawn, the Confederate Army, under the command of General Albert S. Johnston, attacked the Union division of General William T. Sherman, camped at this location. The Union troops were determined to hold the high ground by the church, and the Confederates were equally determined to drive the Federals into the Tennessee River. After several hours of intense fighting, the entire Federal Army, under the command of General U.S. Grant, slowly withdrew toward Pittsburgh Landing, leaving this area with many dead and wounded from both sides. By early morning, General P.G.T. Beauregard assumed command of the Confederate Army after the death of General Johnston. Beauregard established his headquarters and directed the battle from this area near the church. By nightfall, Shiloh Church also served as shelter for many wounded and dying men who had fallen during that day's fighting. On the following day, Shiloh Church once again served as a critical location when the Confederate Army started their slow retreat back to Corinth. General Beauregard and his staff directed their retreat from this area. Although the original log church at Shiloh was destroyed during the battle, the log church before you is a near exact replica of that original church. Much detail went into this church, using hand-hewn logs approximately 150 years old that came from this area. We're walking out here to where it says there's a mass Confederate burial site. That's probably right over here. This was the U.S. camp, the 53rd Ohio Infantry. That's probably what that is. Hey, come on, let's come up here and read this. It might be this up here.
1.0, 0.6, 0.5. Now it's back down to 0.
There's cannonballs down there. On the ground this time. They're in a rectangle.
Yep, this is it. Start rolling right now on that. Yep, it's what it is. Burial place, Confederate soldiers, Shiloh, 1862. To the Confederates dead in the trenches erected by Tennessee Division, 1935. How old do you think these cedar are?
Probably a couple hundred years old.
I know they take a lot of water to grow.
They was here during the Civil War.
Yeah.
I'm going back over here for a minute. Let's get 2.4. If you're saying we're going back over here for a minute.
Are you here? My name is Michael. Can you tell me your name? Are you buried right here? Do you have something that you would like to say? You're about to leave now. Would you like to say anything?
Alright.
This is tour stop number 6. We're going to go read about it. That's point 2 right there. Point 3 went away. Point 1.
Got the steps recording.
This was the monument of the Mississippi there. Dude, I just got a 2.1, dude. Right there. I swear I just got a 2.1 and it went away.
I don't know what's down there.
This is the Bloody Six.
I hear water running.
I think it's that spring.
Come here, get this. The Bloody Sixth. Ordered to attack General William T. Sherman's Union camps, the 6th Mississippi charged headlong into a deadly crossfire The regiment's officers rallied their shock troops to attack 2 more times within 45 minutes. Each time Sherman's troops repulsed the attack, inflicted heavy losses. Of the 6 Mississippi's 425 men who entered the battle, few survived unscathed from these repeated charges into deadly Union crossfire. Here, this gives you an idea of how the men were stationed here. You are here, so we had a few Union right there. What are they doing over there?
I think it's that spring.
They're doing something. I see smoke rising over there.
I kind of want to go look and see what it is.
Alright, hang on. And right here, the church was right back there. There was some people getting married back there or something. But right along behind us here, you had a Union line. And all out there were the Confederates, where they were stationed at, all in that area. Point 2, point 3 went away. Illinois battery.
Hey, I see the church back there.
You got a .6 over there?
Yeah.
Could be those stones.
No, it's not doing it anymore.
Again, over there, don't worry.
Okay, guys, we still got more to see. Come on. The way I look at it, the Confederates, they were people too, and they deserve their own grave site too. I don't think it's right how they just tossed them all in a hole. We're here at tour stop number 7. Peabody's Hunch. Alright. In the pre-dawn of April 6, Union forces were aware of nearly 44,000 Confederate troops ready to march upon them from the southwest. Grant was under strict orders not to provoke a battle before General Don Carlos Buell's Union Army arrived to join him. Union patrols were instructed to defend themselves only and return to camp if they encountered Southern forces. Without orders to do so, an alert Union Brigade commander, Colonel Everett Peabody of General Benjamin Prentice's division, suspicious of increased enemy activity, sent out a patrol of 250 men. Through the darkness, this small force passed well beyond their own picket lines to arrive here around 4:55 a.m. 3 pistol shots shattered the silence, and the alarmed Federals watched Confederate troopers gallop away down the Corinth Road to your left. Peabody's unauthorized patrol had stumbled upon enemy pickets screening General Albert Sidney Johnston's Confederate Army. This gives you an idea of when this happened, between 3 and 5 a.m., April the 6th. And right there, that was the original, I think right here is what it's talking about. Says there's some more stuff down there, dude. Major Hardcastle's picket post in front of Hardy's line was a battle at corner of 2 fields a quarter-mile west Sunday morning.
You want to walk down here?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Nobody saw it. 3.2. Damn it. I tried to show it to you. See that 3.2. .7. Okay, I'm gonna stay in front of you just in case this thing starts showing up more numbers again. Of course, when the camera's on it, it don't do it. 21. I was looking at the map. There's .3, .2. I was looking at the map. It looked like the horse took off this way, and the rest of their army was right over here. So yeah, went from .2, .1, and back to .2 real quick.
Alright, so this is, let me read this right here. Fraley Field. Alright, right here, after they were alerted by the Confederate shots fired on his patrol, Major James Powell slowly advanced his infantry to this point. His skirmish line entered Fraley Field just before dawn on April 6th. The first soldiers wounded or killed that day fell here as Powell's men returned the musket volley they received from Major Aaron B. Hardcastle's Mississippi Battalion. Hardcastle's battalion, part of the Confederate picket line, was positioned on the high ground in front of you where Fraley and Woods fields meet. The evenly matched firefight in these fields and surrounding woods lasted about an hour before General Johnston launched his attack, forcing Powell to retreat. The battle had begun. During the next 34 hours, nearly 24,000 men would be killed, wounded, or captured in the Battle of Shiloh.
So this is where the battle started.
Yeah, this is where it started. Right here, Fraley Field. This gives you an idea of what happened there. Powell's men came in, was doing a reconnaissance, seen enemy movements. Cavalry took off this direction, and then the battle shortly started. Shortly after that, after the Union chased them this way, pretty much between 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. and then they start the attack. They started skirmishing between 5 and 6, and then at 6 they started. That's cool, man. There's something way out there. I couldn't pull the car down here because there's a tree in the way.
4.7 down here.
Are you here? Tell me, is this where the battle started? What happened right here? Hello? Tell me what happened here. Can you hear me? This is tour stop number 8. Confederate attack between 7:30 and 9:30 a.m. The early morning skirmish in Fraley Field alerted forward Union commanders to tens of thousands of Confederate soldiers descending upon their southernmost camps. General Benjamin Prentiss hastily organized a battle line along the next ridge in front of you to engage the massive Confederate onslaught. Fighting continued here for about an hour as Union troops halted and hurled back the initial Confederate attacks. As more Confederate brigades entered the fight, threatening their exposed flanks, Prentiss's troops retired their battle line 1/4 mile north to defend their camps. You are here. The Confederates were coming in right here with their artillery. You had Prentiss's men all stationed here, which had to retreat back to defend their camps. There you go. Tour stop number 8. This is tour stop number 9. Hungry soldiers and souvenirs. Here Confederate troops experienced their first victory of the battle. Their commander, General Sidney Johnston, personally accompanied the flood of Southern soldiers who engulfed General Benjamin Prentiss's frontline Union camp at 9 a.m. Hungry and tired, Confederate formations melted away as both officers and enlisted men looted tents for food and supplies they lacked. They also seized private possessions abandoned by their opponents. This disorganized break notably delayed the Confederate offensive, forcing Johnston to encourage his men to reform ranks and continue the battle. Still, before the day ended, 4 of the 5 Union division camps fell to the Confederates. The Yankees left everything they had: corn, oats, pants, vests, drawers, shirts, shoes, and many other things in great abundance and of the finest quality. Private Liberty, Independence, Nixon, 26th Alabama Infantry. This tells you what's been going on here, what happened, how many troops were involved, their movements. This happened between 9 and 9:45 a.m. Vision for victory. It says, you are here. Johnston qualified his instructions. Every precaution must also be taken to prevent unnecessary exposure of our men to the enemy's gunboats. He then sent nearly 44,000 Confederates into battle at Shiloh. Johnston envisioned total annihilation of General Ulysses S. Grant's Union Army of the Tennessee before General Don Buell's approaching Union Army of the Ohio joined Grant at Pittsburgh Landing. It says they positioned Confederate battle formations facing east. From this deployment, they intended to strike and turn the Union left flank, cutting off retreat before driving Grant's troops north into Owl Creek swamps. This gives you another idea of how they were stationed here, the men that were involved. Alright, we've made it to tour stop number 10. We got this cool monument right here. This is cool. Talks about the different brigades and stuff in this area. That's cool. Got some cannons over here, which would have been some Union artillery. You got some stuff down there. This right here is an Iowa monument. 14th Infantry of Tuttle's 1st Brigade. Wallace's 2nd Division, Army of the Tennessee. I want to read that plaque. I didn't have time to do that. There's a bunch of stuff down there too, man. There's something over there. Impenetrable thicket. This is the hornet's nest, bro. This is what I've been trying to find for a while. Here in the early afternoon of the first day, Union troops stubbornly defended the center of Ulysses S. Grant's ragged 3-mile battlefront. Deployed in a dense oak thicket, Union infantry, supported by 6 artillery batteries of 4 to 6 cannons each, easily repulsed several piecemeal Confederate assaults. Most of the Confederate army was engaged elsewhere on the battlefield, leaving only isolated brigades to attack Grant's center. Colonel Gibson, under General Bragg, commanded one such brigade. Gibson's troops, unsupported by artillery, made at least 3 attempts to break the Union line. Each assault stalled in the impenetrable thicket, and his infantry was decimated. Although these attacks failed, the Confederates gained ground elsewhere on the battlefield. This happened between 12 and 2 p.m. You are here. So Confederates were coming up basically behind there, and Union defensive lines were all stationed through here. You had some backup.
Confederates are really outnumbered in this one.
Yeah. The regiment entered a dense thicket of undergrowth. Here we engaged the enemy 3 different times in a brave, perfect rain of bullets, shot, and shell. Exposed, facing great odds with the enemy in front and on the flank, the regiment endured a murderous fire until endurance ceased to be a virtue. Colonel James F. Fagan, 1st Arkansas Infantry. Let's check out some of the monuments, dude. Hold on. That's a cool monument over there, dude. I like that one over there.
Wow.
Look at the knot on this tree up here. Dang, look at that. That's crazy, dude. Like, I've seen some knots on some trees, but that's just hulking. That's wild, man. Dang.
Wait, big butt.
Dang. That's a cool looking monument there, dude. That's cool. 5th Battery Light Artillery, commanded by Andrew Hickenlooper, Prentice's 6th Division, Army of the Tennessee. That's cool. We're just going to keep that going until we get some voices. We're not really going to ask it much until we feel like we need to.
Yeah, 2.4.
Damn.
No voices.
Let's see what some of these Union things were. 12th Michigan Infantry, Peabody's 1st Brigade, Prentice's 6th Division. th Missouri Infantry, Miller's 2nd Brigade, Prentice's 6th Division. Dang, it got rough back here, dude. 18th Wisconsin Infantry, Miller's 2nd Brigade, Peninsula 6th Division. It got really rough. Dang. Blew over some huge trees. Let's see what this one is. 23rd Missouri Infantry. What the heck, dude? Let's go to this. "31st Infantry, commanded by Colonel Charles Gruft, wounded. Lieutenant Colonel John Osborne. This regiment took this position Sunday, April 6, 1862 at 8:30 a.m. and held it against repeated charges of the enemy until 2:30 p.m. During this time, the woods in front caught fire and many dead and wounded were burned. The regiment was then transferred to the left and was engaged east of the Hamburg Road until 4 p.m. when it slowly retired to the support of the siege guns on Monday, April the 7th. It was engaged during the day on the right center of the army. Casualties killed: 2 officers and 19 men. 4 people were wounded and 110 men, 3 of them missing, total 138. Indiana, 31st Regiment. That's a cool monument. Are there any spirits out here? Any soldiers? Any colonels? Any captains? Lieutenants?
You got 2.2 when you ask that. You say lieutenant's got 2.2.
Come speak to us. We're here to talk to you. Anyone. We're cool people. We're friendly. We're not enemies. Yeah, I feel like that's pretty rough down through there, dude.
Yeah, I don't see us getting through that.
That goes to show how valid, the validity of the spirit box. You go for a long, long time not received.
5.7.
Damn, I seen that. It said 5.7.
Yeah. Went from 1.7 to 5.7.
Are you here right now? Was that you? We're not enemies. We're friendly. We're friendly to both sides. We're neutral. We're not spies.
1.8 when you say we're not spies.
I promise we're not spies. It only took us turning around 3 times to find number 11, but we finally found it. This is tour stop number 11. It says here the cost of battle. Statistics alone cannot express the suffering lost at Shiloh. After the battle, crowds of the wounded and dying still filled the air and bodies littered the ground. Union burial details searched the battleground for remains, burying Union and Confederate soldiers separately, often in large trenches. Despite efforts to bury all the dead immediately, Union troops continued to discover remains until June. Unfortunately, the Federals were unable to identify their Confederate opponents killed during the battle. Officially classified as unknown, they were buried separately throughout the battlefield. The historic mass grave in front of you is one of 5 that Shiloh battle veterans were able to identify and preserve when the national park was established in 1894.
So there's probably more mass graves.
So right here it says how the total amount of troops that were involved. There was 44,699 Confederates, and then there was 66,812 Union. There was 1,728 killed, 1,754 killed for Union, 8,012 wounded for Confederate, 8,408 wounded for Union, 959 missing for Confederate, 2,885 for Union. This is a burial spot right here for Confederates, erected in 1935. Is this your final resting place? Were you buried along here with your fellow comrades? You're free to speak anytime you feel need to. I heard something.
Yeah. Couldn't tell what he said, but
What is your name? Did you have many friends here? Many enemies? Frog. I don't want to go down here too far. I got my truck on. And that's when I walk down and see what's around this corner. Can you tell me where this leads? It's a little hiking trail that leads to another area. Alright, so we found tour stop 12. Right here you got Jones Field right out to the right. There's a lot of stuff going on out here, a lot of different plaques. All kinds of stuff happened out here. We're gonna go over here and read these. It's a huge open area. Order from the chaos. In the late morning, April 6th, the field around you was filled with a disorganized mass of Union soldiers. A morning of bitter fighting left Ulysses S. Grant's army suffering devastating casualties, lost equipment, and lost ground. The setback was especially apparent at the Union right, which had retired to this point 1 mile north of Shiloh Church. At this crucial juncture, due to their own disorganization and losses, Confederate forces deployed against the Union right were unable to press the advantage. This pause in Southern pressure, combined with the arrival of fresh troops, allowed Union generals John A. McClernand and William T. Sherman to hastily reorganize and seize the initiative. This happened between 11 a.m. and 12 noon. The Confederate offensive leaves both Union and Confederate forces disorganized. Reinforcements arrived to bolster the Union right. Right here, Union reinforcements. At noon, the reorganized Union right launches a counterattack. At 12 noon, Grant hammers the Confederates. Retreat. No, I propose to attack at daylight and whip them. That was General Ulysses S. Grant. Early on the second day, General Grant ordered General Wallace to advance on Confederate forces occupying and captured Union camps to the north behind you. Wallace attacked the Tillman branch, forcing the Confederates to retire into the woods in front of you. They were reinforced by Southern troops hastily advancing north from Shiloh Church. Over the next few hours, these Confederate forces hurled uncoordinated assaults against Wallace, while Generals William Sherman and John McClernand pushed slowly forward from the east to link up with Wallace. Once combined, the Federals steadily forced the Confederates back. When Wallace turned the Confederate left, the southern line collapsed, retiring rapidly south towards Shiloh Church. Okay, gives you an idea of what happened here between 6 and 11 a.m. on Monday the 7th. Right here, number 1. Wallace starts Grant's counterattack, seizing ground south of Tillman Branch. Right there. McClernand and Sherman finally link up with Wallace at mid-morning. The Union right forces the Confederates to retire south at Shiloh Church, right there, about around 11 a.m. Gives you an idea of what happened here.
Oh, yeah, there's a pond back there.
A pond.
Water Oaks Pond.
You are here. It's a pretty good distance back there. Okay, so we're basically right on top of a lot of fighting that happened right here. A lot of Union coming from that direction. They all pieced together right here to push the Confederates back that direction. Yeah, back that direction towards Shiloh Church. I think we should come out here with the spirit box and the meter.
That's what I was thinking.
Because right around in here is where most of the fighting happened. All through this field. In this area is where the fighting happened. Yeah. I heard something.
Yep.
Who are you? What'd you say, sir? Speak a little bit slower and louder for me. What happened here, sir? Yeah, that's the first voices we've got in an hour.
Right.
What'd he say? Hello?
Yeah.
Hey there.
Those are different versions, too. Yeah, he started walking, he said something else.
That's the same dude that just said that other voice. Tell us who you guys are. What was your position? Just kind of walk out this way a little bit. Or another voice.
Said hold.
You want us to hold our position? We're not enemies, I promise. We're friendly. We're neutral. Whoa.
Somebody said stay. Do you not want us to move forward? You want us to move forward or?
Every time we try moving this direction, we get a voice.
They don't want us to go this way. They don't want me to move, keep going. Come touch this device in my hand. Okay, I'm gonna start moving.
Were you forced to flee through the woods to retreat and regroup?
.7. Now it's going back down. There's just a voice there.
Is that you, sir? I just got a 1.0 right there.
I'm at 0.8. 1.2. Can you follow me, sir?
We're leaving now. We found tour stop number 13. There's a mass Confederate burial down there. A counterattack buys time. It says right here, we held this position, sometimes gaining and at other times losing ground. General McClernand and myself acting in perfect concert and struggling to maintain this line. That was General William T. Sherman, 5th Division, Army of the Tennessee. Here at noon on the first day, General Ulysses S. Grant's reinforced Union right slammed into disorganized Confederate troops in a timely counterattack. Union troops commanded by General William T. Sherman and John A. McClernand captured cannons and recovered some of McClernand's camps. Fierce fighting continued throughout the afternoon as Confederate troops led by Generals William Hardee and Leonidas Polk fought with equal determination. By mid-afternoon, the depleted Union ranks once again grudgingly gave ground, retiring northward. Ordered to hold, Sherman and McClernand withdrew, fighting to a new, stronger position east of Tilghman Branch. The Union right successfully defended this final front and easily repulsed Confederate attempts to seize and hold ground east of the valley. Their efforts paid in blood for what Grant desperately needed: precious time. This happened around between 12 and 4 p.m. on the 6th. This is what happened. Here we are right here. We got the Confederate men coming up right here. The Union placements this way. Reorganized Union right forces, the Confederates back right there between 12 to 2 p.m. Number 2, between 12:30 and 2 p.m. the Confederate left attacks again, eventually forcing the Union right to retire northward. The Federals withdrew across the Tilghman Branch and established their final line right there. Look at the knots on that tree. That's wild. This regiment was detached from its brigade and ordered to report to General Sherman. It became engaged here about 11 a.m. April 6th. There was 3 killed officers, 67 men wounded, 1 something missing, 81 total.
Seems like you're going a little too fast, huh? Much faster than usual.
I'm gonna set the tri-field on this memorial thing here in just a minute, just so I can have my hands free to operate the camera. And 8.3.
Yeah.
Damn, right when you entered this area too, man. What could that mean? I'm just gonna set that down right there, stationary. If it goes off, I'll hear it. Tour stop number 14. Your guard's last stand. Early in the afternoon of the second day, General Pierce G.T. Beauregard personally led his troops in severe, furious counterattacks against the surge of Union forces. Confederate infantry repeatedly charged through the shallow water of Water Oaks Pond to your right. After 2 hours of seesaw fighting, Beauregard realized that his exhausted troops were finished and ordered an orderly withdrawal from the field behind a strong rear guard to resist further Union attacks. Beauregard's bloodied army slowly retired southward toward Corinth. As evening approached, having recovered all his ground lost the previous day, the exhausted Union forces halted their advance and made their camp among the dead. The battle was over. Again and again our troops were brought to the charge, invariably to win the position and issue, invariably to drive back their foe. But hour by hour, thus opposed to an enemy constantly reinforced, our ranks were perceptibly thinned under the unceasing withering fire of the enemy, and 18 hours of hard fighting had sensibly exhausted a large number. General Pierce G.T. Beauregard, Army of the Mississippi. Here, this happened between 12 and 6 p.m. on the 7th. Here's an idea of what happened here. Beauregard's counterattack is a desperate effort to halt the Union onslaught. Right there. Beauregard supervises a fighting withdrawal from the field while Union forces reclaim all ground lost the previous day. Right here. They reclaim all this. Let's see, we're right here. Okay.
Probably a lot of fish too.
I wouldn't get too close though, because it's got high grass and there's a snake laying there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's a bunch of frogs that just jumped.
I like that. symbol of valor right there. Still holding your comrades up. Erected by the sovereign state of Tennessee with assistance from the Tennessee United Daughters of the Confederacy and Sons of Confederate Veterans, this monument is dedicated with everlasting gratitude and respect to the Tennesseans who fought here. Heard that. We're fellow Tennesseans ourselves. I heard that. It says right here on the side, the world's a little note. For long remember what we say here, but we can never forget what we did here. That's cool. Illinois. Hey, come look at the front, dude. This is cool fucking stuff. Look at that. It's like a battle scene, dude.
That's cool.
That's really cool. Back up a little bit, you see the lady on top. Check that out. That's cool, man. We're at tour stop number 15. We got the Davis wheat field right here. Right over there you had some artillery placed, some monuments. We're gonna go read this plaque. If you want to go near the cannons right quick with that, you can. I'll meet up with you. The Confederate repulse. Here during the action, Sam Todd, Mary Todd Lincoln's half-brother, was fatally wounded. As in thousands of homes across America, the tragic impact of the Battle of Shiloh was felt even in the White House. This area right here occurred between 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. Confederate repulse. By mid-morning on the second day, the combined Union armies of Ulysses S. Grant and Don Carlos Buell had advanced across the battlefield. Buell's center fought its way to this point, reclaiming ground lost the day before. Here in Daniel Davis's wheat field, the Confederates struck back hard, catching the Federals in a deadly crossfire and driving them back. For 2 hours, fighting moved back and forth across the same ground. At noon, reinforced with men from Grant's army, Buell reclaimed the initiative and pressed steadily south in an advance rearguard's right wing was unable to reverse. Buell leads the advance on the Union center and left to reclaim ground lost the previous day. Right there. You got Stacy Field right over there, Cloud Field on the other side, Duncan Field over here, Wicker Field over here. It says we are right here. So Davis wheat field directly in front of us. Okay. The Davis home was somewhere right in there. It says right here, the Confederates fight back in 4 hours of seesaw fighting to no avail. Right here and right here between 8 and 11 a.m. And right here, like I said, you had the Davis home right here, the Davis wheat field, and somewhere back that direction you would have had Sarah Bell house and some other log cabins back there around Hamburg Savannah Road. There you go, tour stop 15. So this right here is the Larkin Bell field. The Bell homes were somewhere back here, probably in this opening here. Used to be. Spirit box on for about 2 minutes. Any of the Bells in this area? Any of the old Bell family?
Did you hear it?
Uh-uh.
Something came through.
Sarah Bell, are you here?
That one. Sounded like a woman.
Army of the Mississippi, Jackson's 3rd Brigade. Any soldiers or former Bell family here? We stopped for a couple minutes. Tell us who you are. I thought I heard a female.
Like a man right there.
Did this used to be your home? You must have hated all the fighting around your home. That was a woman, dude. I hate that you had to witness all that. Is this Sarah we're talking to? We're fixing to go now. We got a lot more to see. Alright, you cut it out, bro. Alright, this is tour stop 16. We got another orchard going on here. Let's see what happened here. Confederate offense stalls. After nearly 6 hours, the first day's battlefront had advanced to this point from where it began about 2 miles to the southwest. With the first Union camps captured, General Albert Sidney Johnston turned his attention to a strong Union force reported to be threatening his right. Colonel David Stewart's brigade on the Union's left flank was encamped here and assigned to guard the Hamburg Road. Johnston deployed 2 brigades under General Jones Withers to attack Stewart. Withers' infantry, led by General James Chalmers and Colonel John Jackson, supported by artillery, quickly drove Stewart from his camps and onto a new position to the east right. Isolated from Union forces heavily engaged to the northwest, Stewart waged a stubborn defense, stalling Withers' advance for 3 long hours. Finally forced to retreat at mid-afternoon, the wounded Stewart, with his surviving troops, retreated north to join other Union forces near Pittsburgh Landing. This is what happened here between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. on the 6th. You are here. There was a hospital right here. Yeah, because there's Larkin Bill's field behind us. There was a hospital right here, right next to us in this area. There was a hospital. And Sarah Bill, her home was right up the road here. Just right up there. It's possible that this was some of her family here. Yeah, that's how it played out here. There was a hospital right there. This right here was Larkin Bill Apple Orchard. That's cool. So somewhere right in here, there was a hospital during the battle. There's a lot of bees over here. I'm gonna read this other little plaque. I forgot to read it. It says right here, thousands of wounded. After the fighting ended, medical officers from both armies faced carrying for nearly 16,420 wounded men. Army surgeons, assisted by civilian doctors and nurses, and hundreds of soldiers, struggled to provide effective medical care with limited resources. As was typical at the time, armies transported wounded soldiers off battlefields to nearby towns for care. Most of the 8,408 Union wounded went by steamboat to nearby Savannah, Tennessee, or even further away to northern cities. Most of the 8,012 Confederate wounded went first to Corinth, Mississippi. From Corinth, many were transported by rail to communities throughout the Western Confederacy. Limited transportation options forced Union medical officers to establish makeshift field hospitals on Shiloh battlefields. Here on the high ground surrounding the Cantrell farmhouse, Dr. Bernard Irwin set up a 300-patient tent hospital using the 4-room house as a surgery station. Irwin had tents, bedding, and supplies confiscated from Union camps to equip this hastily crafted battlefield medical facility. Irwin's tent hospital at Shiloh was a forerunner of modern mobile army surgical hospitals. This gives you an idea of what that would look like. And this right here was Dr. Bernard J.D. Irwin. Learned from his experience at Shiloh. Triage on the field rather than transporting the wounded resulted in better patient response to treatment and more lives saved. I desire to call special attention to the admirable hospital arrangements adopted by Dr. Irwin during the battle. They will be found as nearly perfect as the circumstances would allow. Brigadier General William Nelson, 4th Division, Army of the Ohio. That's cool, dude. This is Tour Stop 17. We got a monument right there for Johnston. We're gonna read this plaque. Conquer or perish. At Shiloh, in early April 1862, General Albert Sidney Johnston sought to attack General Ulysses S. Grant's Army of the Tennessee before General Don Carlos Buell's Army of the Ohio arrived from Nashville. Just weeks earlier, the Federals had forced Johnston's Confederate forces to abandon Kentucky and Middle Tennessee. Now Johnston hoped destruction of Grant's army at Shiloh would turn the tide of the war in the West. The battle began early on Sunday morning, April 6th. By mid-morning, the tide of battle favored the Confederates, as 2 frontline Union divisions, despite the stubborn defense, were driven north from their camps. Johnston personally encouraged his troops, proclaiming, "Today we must conquer or perish." Then, at mid-afternoon, while personally directing an attack, Johnston was fatally wounded. As second in command, General Beauregard assumed command of the Confederate forces. The Confederates ended the day sure of their victory. The next day, however, with Buell's army having arrived on the battlefield overnight, the tide of battle rapidly reversed, turning against the Confederates and forcing them from the field. Happened between 2:30 and 2:45 p.m. On April 6th. I searched but found no visible wound upon his body. He expired without pain a few moments after, and about 15 minutes after he received his death wound. Colonel William Preston, volunteer aide-de-camp to General Johnston. This is Tour Stop 18. Fighting consumes Bell's farm. At the time of the battle, the fields and woods surrounding you are part of the widow Sarah Bell's farm. This sector of the Union line, under the command of General Stephen A. Hurlbut, ran parallel with the far side of the peach orchard in front of you, extending along both sides of the Hamburg-Savannah Road on your left. Beginning in the late morning, the Confederate right, under the personal command of General Albert Sidney Johnston, tried to dislodge Hurlbut, making several futile attempts to cross the large cotton field beyond the orchard. After 3 hours of intense fighting, a massive Confederate attack, during which Johnston was fatally wounded, finally forced the Union left to retire into the woods behind you. Heavy fighting continued for 2 more hours until Hurlbut again was forced to retire back through his camps. towards Pittsburgh Landing. The Confederates on this front row moved against the Federals, defending the Hornet's Nest. Happened between 12 and 4 p.m. We're gonna go check this building out right over here. This right here is the Bloody Pond. There's a reason why they call it the Bloody Pond. This right here was a quote by Sergeant Ambrose Bierce of the 9th Indiana Infantry. All the wretched debris of battle still littered the spongy earth as far as one could see in every direction. Dead horses were everywhere, ammunition wagons standing desolate behind 4 or 6 sprawling mules. Men, there were men enough, all dead. Returned to Bell's Farm, you had all kinds of units stationed out here fighting, just trading fire for a long time, from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. They were trading fire for hours. This is the second day of fighting, saw the Federals retaking ground the lost day before. This right here was General Don Carlos Buell. This is tour stop 19, the Bloody Pond. Dude, you hear that bullfrog? Listen. He sounds a little mad. Tour stop 19. We've already read this the other day, so we shouldn't have to read it again. According to what we know and what we've learned, both the Union and Confederate side uses as a drinking source and to wash off in. And there was fighting near this pond, and possible soldiers could have died in the pond. Who knows? Oh yeah, dude, dude.
There's some huge fish in here.
That is a big, well, that's not a huge fish, but that's cool. There's another one over there. Get on the spirit box. Whenever I have these sunglasses on, it does have a red tint to it. Tell us, what is this area? What is this called? Look at all those fish, bunch of brim. What is this called? We're not really sure. We're not from here. What is this called? Look at all that nasty looking crap. Look at these roots, how they do that. Can you tell us who you are? I want a frog. I see a bunch of frog eggs. Either that or it could be fish eggs.
There's frog eggs.
Yeah.
Little fish.
Yep. There's one right there sitting there looking at me. What's up, dude? There's a lot of fish in there. Dang, I seen that. Why does this thing the color of red all the time? Were there soldiers fatally wounded here? Did you have to wash your wounds? I don't know why, I just feel like I'm drawn to this area back here. I can't explain why. Hello? Alright, so we've come to the Shiloh Indian Mounds area. It's along the tour route. This is the little building here that you can read information about it. We'll be visiting the mounds in just a moment. You are entering the largest surviving prehistoric site in the Tennessee River Valley and one of the least disturbed areas of earthen mounds in the eastern United States. Early European settlers were familiar with the site. After the Civil War Battle of Shiloh, members of the 28th Illinois Infantry buried their fallen comrades in the westernmost platform mound. Their bodies were later reinterred to the National Cemetery. Thanks to its early inclusion in the military park, the site of this ancient town was never plowed. Spend some time looking at the exhibits in the shelter and take the 1.1 mile interpretive loop trail through the grounds and back to the parking lot. It says right here, this effigy pipe and exhibits about Shiloh people may be viewed at the Tennessee River Museum in nearby Savannah, Tennessee. It talks about the different types of Indians. This is Mississippian Indians, the types of stuff that they would do. This right here is some stuff that was excavated in certain times. And right here I wanted to talk about the colors of the mounds that they used to be. They used to be red colored like that. In recent years, the National Park Service has conducted excavations on the largest mound, which was eroding into the Tennessee River. By examining the walls of their trench and studying radar images, archaeologists discovered the mound's original rounded top had been turned into a flat top. The mound had been created with different layers of black, yellow, and gray soil, and the exterior had been coated with red clay.
But the game
Check that out. Yeah, that's the game they used to play.
Called a hunky.
Over the years, archaeologists discovered several small stone discs in various places in the settlement. They knew from accounts written by European explorers and settlers that the southeastern American Indians played a game called chunky with such stones. One chunky stone found in the 1930s on the north side of this town's plaza was made of coquina shells. Right there. This kind of stone is found only in Florida. Presumably, the people who lived here received that chunky stone and traded with people from that area or from others who had dealt with them. Archaeologists uncovered one post hole after another. They staked the holes and realized they formed a semicircular fence line on the northern and western sides of the town site opposite the Tennessee River. Wooden walls would have been rotted within a few years, requiring replacement, but the palisade was built only once. This community must have been peaceful most of the time. Here it talks about the Chickasaw homeland and the Chickasaw Nation in Oklahoma. Talks about different things that they were doing and into, the oral traditions of them, trade, hunting, and military actions. This is a very cool, informative place here. What is this right here? Oh yeah, this shows the mounds. Right here, these would be walking trails. And you got interpretive markers, which would be all of these, all along there. The house mounds. Dang, look how many of the house mounds there were. Dude, that's a lot, dude. And then the palisade walls were these. And then the present day road. And these are the larger mounds. This one right here would have been the largest right here, which they excavated. Let me get around here. They excavated the far side of it right here. They dug like a little trench down. They found some cool stuff there, but how many main mounds do you see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At least 7 large mounds. You know what? That's kind of similar to the 7 sisters of the Pleiades.
Yeah.
I find that kind of intriguing that I don't know, it's just a theory of mine. But Native Americans also had this sacred belief in the number 7 as well.
That's crazy. There's one house mound by itself.
Yeah. There was a lot of them, dude, all over the place.
This road cut into one of them.
There's a hiking trail that goes around. Hopefully it's open now. It was closed last time, but there's also more markers down there where you can read more information. And there was a lot of homes down there. Let's go over and take a look at them, dude. Some different things that they would use, like the flint drill bit, mussel shells, the sandstone saw. Here's a mussel shell and necklace that they made. Mica clothing ornament. Mica has been found all over the southeast. The bridge has a little bounce to it. Here's one of the mounds right here. This one is the one where the soldiers are buried in it. Right here, it kind of gives you an idea of what's going on here. You are entering the heart of the town, a fairly level plaza stretching from here to the edge of the river bluff. The large mounds you see here served as elevated platforms or civic buildings, temples, and homes of prominent leaders. Between 1100 and 1300, this town was one of the largest and most impressive communities along the entire river. Several hundred people lived here, and others came here regularly from villages and hamlets up and down the riverway, just as people might drive to Nashville or Memphis today. Right here, we're near this one, I think, right? The large rectangular buildings and central ridgeline and gable ends. The highest mound right over there at the end, down there, rises 20 feet from the plaza floor and probably had a leader's home, possibly. And there was little huts and houses all scattered all throughout here. Mississippian culture, like many others around the world, associated leadership and power with high elevations. In ancient Greece, temples and civic buildings were located on the Acropolis, the uppermost part of the city. At Teotihuacan in Mexico, temples were placed on high pyramids, and in Washington, D.C., the U.S. Capitol sits on a hill. This one right here, I think, is the one where the soldiers are buried in it. Yep, I do believe so. Burial place of the 28th Illinois Infantry. Bodies removed to National Cemetery. Yep, they were once buried here and then they were removed from it. I wonder what made them choose to bury the people here in this mound.
I don't know, it's a weird place to bury them.
Exactly. I mean, we can explore for a minute if you want. See what the heck this trail is all about. We found this little plaque here out in this trail. The burrow pits, kind of like the barrel pits that they call at Pinson. The depressions or wet weathered ponds in front of you are holes where residents dug up clay to build their wattle and daub houses. Here in the nearby ravines, they also borrowed soil to construct the large mounds you will see further along the trail. They loosened the soil with pointed sticks or hoes, scooped up the dirt, and built the mounds basketful by basketful, a laborious process. Just like Pinson and many other mound sites in the world, these little things right here that you see are the result from that. That's about as far as we can go.
You got trees down everywhere, so it kind of makes it hard.
We gotta go back by the snake. I think it's some kind of rat snake. It doesn't look like a water moccasin or a copperhead or anything, but it still scared me when I seen it. There he is right there. He's getting him some sun today.
He's still.
I got Michael tripping out looking for snakes now, all the time. This one right here is the largest mound at the complex. And they say that possibly it was used for rituals, or possibly could have had a leader's home on the top. I'm not sure. But this is the large one here. Got more scattered around everywhere. There's the river. Alright, so we're climbing up the big mound. It says this was a vibrant community. They had their own sport called stickball. Residents of Shiloh and neighboring towns competed in a game of stickball which was similar to lacrosse. The games were often rough and violent, resulting in serious injuries. Spectators wagered their clothing and valuables, sometimes everything they owned. And we thought betting on football and stuff was crazy.
You do it then.
Topped off with a temple, a chief's residence, or a governmental building, this mound served as the social and ceremonial focus of the community. The summit offered an unparalleled view of religious ceremonies, dances, games, and everyday activities on the plaza. The whole community, plus residents from nearby villages, gathered to celebrate the Corn Festival, the beginning of a new year, with feasting, rituals, and dancing. Crowds watched and bet on teams competing at games of chunky and stickball. And on other days, townspeople went to the plaza to catch up on the news, to see what was happening, and to be seen. This is the view here. Look at that view right there, straight down the river. Heck yeah, this is a major river town, it says. Oh, this has to do with, what is this right here?
What's that pipe thing we saw?
This effigy pipe, the most famous artifact found here, is carved out of the same distinctive red stone and in the same style as others uncovered at Cahokia. The pipe is now on display at the Tennessee River Museum in Savannah, Tennessee. We need to go there next time, to that museum. This talks about different stuff that was found: greenstone and mica, the greenstone axe found at Shiloh, a flint hoe found at Shiloh. You are here, right on the Tennessee River. Cahokia, right up there in Illinois. It's basically right on top of St. Louis, not far from St. Louis, because you got Missouri just right over here. The Ohio River, the Great Lakes region. You know, if you look at this right here, this is a highway system, okay, to these Native Americans back in the day. They all had the means and the will and just the know-how to all meet up with different tribes and nations to trade different artifacts. The Tennessee River served as a major transportation artery, linking this community with people from the Great Lakes to the Gulf of Mexico. The chief not only ruled the river valley for 10 miles in both directions, but had alliances and traded goods with people in such distant places as Cahokia, near today's St. Louis. Using dugout canoes, the people fished the riverway and raised crops in the bottomlands along the river. They exchanged food, clothing, and gifts with friends and relatives in Savannah and other nearby communities. They imported chert or flint hoe blades from Alabama, copper ornaments from the Great Lakes region, mica and greenstone from the southern Appalachians, and coquina stone from Florida. This right here is coquina, a chunky stone that they used. A few thousand people lived along this 25-mile stretch of the Tennessee River. Most of these communities were small, but the one 6 miles downstream, mostly destroyed by the modern municipality of Savannah, was relatively large, like the one here. Here we are. Downstream, you would have, you know, the Savannah mounds, which I've researched that they are destroyed now. They have been destroyed, and there was a lot of them, and that site was larger than this site. And you know you have mounds all down the river. I mean, why wouldn't you have mounds and homes and villages along a main trade route? Here we are on top of the big mound at Shiloh Mounds. You got other mounds over there and over there. We're headed over here to check out these other mounds. squirrel. Sounded like a heavy squirrel at that. Yeah, these are the other mounds in the other area. There was mounds scattered all through here. Little mounded areas where they would have their homes. Possibly this right here is an example. This could have been one. There you go, this is Shiloh Indian Mounds. We got to tour stop number 20, which is talking about the gunboats on the river. The Confederate offensive stalled late Sunday afternoon in the rugged expanse of Dill Branch Ravine in front of you. Both sides were weary and worn down after a brutal day of fighting. Ulysses S. Grant's desperate and depleted army regrouped to defend Pittsburgh Landing as steamboats brought reinforcements from General Don Carlos Buell. From the river, 2 wooden gunboats, the USS Lexington and the USS Tyler, unleashed their big guns on the Confederates. The gunboats fired on the Confederate forces visible from the near west shore of the river, helping repulse the final Confederate attack of the day. After nightfall, the gunboats anchored along the far east shoreline of the Tennessee River behind you fired their shells deep into Grant's captured camps. It rained heavily during the night. Every 15 minutes the enemy threw 2 shells from his gunboats, some of which burst close around my men, banishing sleep from the eyes of a few, but falling chiefly among their own wounded, who were strewn thickly between my camp and the river. Brigadier General Patrick R. Cleburne, 2nd Brigade Hardy Corps. You are here. You would have had the Confederates coming up here. The Union were over here near Pittsburgh Landing. They had some boats right there. You had the USS Lexington and the USS Tyler directly behind us. Yeah, this happened from 6 p.m. overnight running into Monday morning, April the 7th. Yeah, it says you are here. The boats were right here. Here we are right on the river, a beautiful Tennessee River. Got a boat way over there, just cruising along. There you go, tour stop number 20. Gunboats on the river. Every half hour during the night, they would throw shells from the boat. These are the cannons that would have been on the boats. Right here. Heck yeah. Hello, hello, hello.
Yeah, ain't the lie. As soon as I got over here, I looked in it too.
That's cool. Check out the stream, dude. Would they call this a ravine?
Yeah. Peaceful wall, something down there.
Yeah, something going on right there. Old piece of foundation, possibly. Or...
On top of the hill.
Probably another squirrel. We only got 2 more stops to go.
Feel that.
Heck yeah, dude. It's solid right there, boy. Tour stop number 21. End of a long, hard day. Confederate effort fails. Before sunset on the first day, Confederates made a final attack on the Union line. The extreme left end of the Union's final defensive position, known since as Grant's last line, was located here, employing 2 gunboats in the river, 2 artillery batteries deployed here, and 9 more artillery batteries massed along the line for roughly 1/2 mile further west. The Federals bombarded the deep ravine of Dill Branch in front of you. The opposing Confederate infantry, many without ammunition and armed only with bayonets, slid into the ravine from the south and struggled across the valley in a futile attempt to storm its steep northern slope. Hampered by musketry and artillery fire, they could only hit the ground and seek cover. At nightfall, the survivors quietly retired from their ravine and proceeded south to seek refuge in the captured Union camps. You are here. Some Confederates attempted to storm Grant's last line and are repulsed, while most retired to captured Federal camps there and there. Part of Buell's lead division marches onto the battlefield to assist in repulsing the final Confederate attack of the day. Overnight, Buell will reinforce Grant with nearly 3 full divisions, while Lew Wallace reinforces Grant's right there. You got Buell coming in. They're coming in from the river there to reinforce them. This happened between 6 and 7 p.m. Tour stop 21. This is tour stop number 22. Vicksburg Landing was crucial to General Ulysses S. Grant's strategy on the Tennessee River. This landing, located on the west shore of the river, where the southernmost point where steamboats would pull to shore during the both highest and lowest river stages. Wagon roads linked the landing to a strategic railroad junction at Corinth, Mississippi, 22 miles to the southwest. These key features made Pittsburgh Landing the logical base of operations for Union forces in the spring of 1862. From here, Grant could attempt to destroy Western Confederate rail communications servicing the lower Mississippi River Valley. You are here. Pittsburgh Landing. It shows the different railroads, the Mobile and Ohio Railroad, the Memphis and Charleston Railroad. There you go. And there's a cemetery right over there. Shiloh National Cemetery.
your post. Work. Load solid shot. Load. Ready! Fire!
Pretty awesome, man.
Ceasefire! All right, that's just one cannon. Here at the Battle of Shiloh, there were 246 artillery pieces. Ready! Fire! Ceasefire!